So in this lesson we will see how we can create the leg controls. So we will also create a control curve to control the complete leg, and we will add a custom attribute to create set driven keys in order to control the leg's movement. We will have reverse foot locks, extra joints, which we will use to control the leg in the way we want. So once we have completed our skeleton setup, now we will have to create the IK handles for controlling the leg. Now before getting into IK handles, we have to talk about two different types of skeleton controls that we can do. One is called inverse kinematics and the other one is called forward kinematics. Now forward kinematics is very simple. A parent will control the child, that is forward kinematics, and in inverse kinematics it is the exact opposite. The child is going to control the parent. So let's create a basic simple chain and see how we can understand this. So if I just have these 5 joints, for example, this is the parent and this is the child. So when I rotate this parent, as you can see, all the children are moving together, right? And if I rotate the next one, the children of that particular joint will move together. But when I adjust the child, it is not going to influence on the parents. So this is forward kinematics. So parent controlling child is forward kinematics. Let's see what is inverse kinematics. For inverse kinematics, we have to create a control. We call it IK handle. Let's go to skeleton menu and choose IK handle tool. Go to options. Let's leave it like that for now, and we will click on the parent and the child. This will result in creating this handle here. So if I move this handle, as you can see that the child basically decides how the parents should behave. Okay, so this is called inverse kinematics. Now we use inverse kinematics for hands, for legs, and mostly for legs, and we can use forward kinematics for the hands because it will be simple to control the parent to control the way the child should behave. But in case of leg, as you can see, the leg is actually planted on the floor. So it is better to use inverse kinematics for the legs. So let's go ahead and talk about the two different types of inverse kinematics controls that we can create. Now the first one is, if I go to the tools, you can see that there are two types of solvers. One is called SC solver and the other one is called RP solver. Now SC solver is for any simple join chains. For example, here what we have created is a SC solver. So meaning that it is a single chain solver. So depending on where the child is or where the child is being moved, the parents will behave or act according to the position of this child. An RP solver, it stands for rotate plane solver, meaning that it takes 3 points and creates a plane and puts this joint in that. Let's have a new join chain. Let's go to choose join tool. Okay, now if I go to skeleton, IK handle tool, this time I'm going to choose RP solver. I'll click here and I'll click here, and this creates the same effect, but along with that we also get something called a pole vector. Now this is basically a point, an imaginary point at least for now, in space somewhere here, which basically decides how this joint can be twisted. Let's go ahead and add a dummy object, which is a locator. I'll move the locator forward and I'll make this the position of this locator to be the pole vector. So I'll select the locator and I'll shift select the IK handle. I will go to constrain and choose pole vector. Now you can see that it basically creates a triangle here. Now the advantage is this pole vector can be used to twist the joint. So basically this solver works with 3 points. So one here, the child, and the parent, and the pole vector. So I can just control this way, the same way as it is before, and I can also control this up and down. So let's say, for example, this is your right arm. You can move the hand forward and backward. At the same time, you can also twist it up and down. Let's go ahead and delete all these examples. We'll start with the character. So first of all, I will create a rotate plane solver for the leg so that we can have the pole vector here, which can be used to twist the leg. I'll go to IK handle, RP solver, click here first, click here second. So this basically gives us the control for the leg. So we can lift it up, move it forward, backward, or do whatever you like. You can even make him walk. Okay, don't go too much extreme, it will mess up with the shape. Okay. Now when you go a little bit here, you can see that this leg is actually distorting from here, but we can fix that because we'll be creating more controls for this leg. We have to create two more IK handles. They will be SC solver because they are going to be just with one single joint and there's no need for any twist. So I'll create the second IK handle from here to here and the third one from here to here. So let's go to the outliner and see how this looks. So I've got an IK handle, first one, second one, and third one. Let's give names to this. First one I will call it as IK left leg. I'll name it 01 and I'll just copy this from here. I'll go here, I already have 2, so I'll make it 02, I'll make it 03. Okay, so IK left leg 01, 02, and 03. Now to control these IK handles, we will have to create another small joint chain. Now this control setup is called reverse foot setup. The name is because we're going to actually create one more joint chain which comes in the reverse order of the leg. Meaning you've got the parent here and the child here. In the reverse foot control, if this is the parent and this will be the child. I'll go ahead and create that. Let's start with skeleton join tool. I'll start the joint chain from here so that we can create a twist for the leg. Let's go up here, 3, 4. So 4 joints, let's press enter. And now these will be created little away from the actual left leg, so we'll have to move it closer or we will have to align it exactly on the leg. Let's go ahead and turn off the geometry so that it will be easy for us to see. Before that, I also want to change the size of them, because if you see, if both the joints are in the same size, it will be difficult for us to find out which joint is which. So I've selected all the joints, and in the radius value I will give a value of 1. So now they are a little bigger compared to how they were before. And now I will select this root joint and enable the x-axis transformation. I will turn on the point snap, and if I middle mouse button click and slightly move, it will be snapped exactly there. Now when you do this, make sure that you're not selecting any other axes or not selecting the center. Do it only on one axis, that is x-axis. Now let me continue on with the alignment of the other joints. I'll press down arrow so that it will select the next one. I can press I have kept the point snap on. I will click in the middle and snap. I'll press one more down arrow, snap it, once more down arrow, snap it. So now they're all snapped together in the right location. And what I have to do is now I have to control the IK handles with the help of these joints. So let me see how this joint could react. I can lift it up. Okay, if I go to the second one, I can lift it up like that. If I go to the third one, I can lift it up like that. That's good. Now all I have to do is connect these IK handles to these joints, and before that we can give names to these joints. This is JT underscore left RF. RF stands for reverse foot. I'll name it 01. I'll copy all this, and now all I have to do is replace them here. 02, replace it here with 3, replace it here with 4. Okay, so now all I have to do is parent these things. So I'll select the IK handle, I'll go to selection tool and shift select the reverse foot lock number 4 and press P. Now instead of pressing P, we can also go to edit and choose parent. Shortcut key is P, so it's up to you. I'll select the IK handle here and the joint here and P, IK handle here and a joint here and P. So I can see that it comes in proper order. So 1, 2, 3, and here it is 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me select this joint and now see how this is going to react. I'll push it up. Okay, that's good. If I press the second one like so, press one more down arrow, and that's good. Now I can also move the entire leg by selecting this joint. Okay, that's good. Now in Maya we should not, or we should never create animation or keyframes on joints. So we cannot actually animate this joint. So instead of animating this joint, we will create a control curve which we can use to create animation. And the control curve will be a parent of this joint. So wherever the control curve goes, the joint will also go. Let's go ahead and create the control curve. Let's go to create, NURBS primitives, circle. I will pull the circle closer. I'll scale it big. Squeeze it a bit. I can turn on my geometry so that I can see what is the size of the leg. Let's go to control curve. Now you can also deselect the joints and the curves surface so that accidentally you won't select them. You can just pull it out, pull this also out, and slightly to the left. Now notice, don't move from the center. If you move from the center, it might go in any axis as it fits. Okay, so try to move only in the axis that you want to move. So if it is x-axis, only hit that arrow and move. So I'll move them like so. Now I'm showing a slight difference in the curve. So you can see that this side is a little bit projected to the left, this side is going dim, and this side is going inside a little bit. Okay, now this is just to mimic that this is the left leg, so that later it will be easy for us to make selections. Okay, so once I'm happy with that, I can select it. Now you see we have got some translate and scale values, and we also have some history information. Now in rigging, it is always better when you have a control curve, name it properly and remove all these history information and transformations. Otherwise, when we make parent, it will create some unwanted transformation nodes. So let's go ahead and do a couple of things. First things, let's give a name for this. Let's name it as CC. CC stands for control curve left, CC underscore left leg. And next is we have to freeze this transformation. Let's go to modify and choose freeze transformation. Click on that, it freezes all the transformations. Okay, before freezing the transformation, I'll have to bring this pivot point up here. Let's press insert key, turn off the geometry. You can turn on the point snap, and there it is. Okay, enter. So that now what will happen is when I rotate, it will rotate from that point. Okay, good. And now one last step, we have to delete the history. So let's go to edit, delete by type, history. So good enough. And I don't want the scale and visibility values to be available. I can right click that and lock and hide selected. Okay, good enough. So our control curve is ready, our reverse foot control is ready. Now what we have to do is connect that reverse foot joint to the left leg control curve. So select the joint first, shift select the control curve, press P. So as you can see that everything is properly named and everything is properly organized. So if I select the control curve, I will be able to move it. I will be able to rotate it like this. Further, I can control these, I can use these reverse foot controls to do the rest of the things. Okay, I have turned this off. Okay. Yeah. Now you can control these things individually also. Okay. So now let's go ahead and make a custom attribute to control these reverse foot controls, reverse foot joints. Because we cannot create animation or we cannot create keyframes on the joints directly. So what we will do is we will use something called a set driven key to create this automation. So first I will add an attribute here for my control curve. I'll go to edit and choose add attribute. I'll give a name. I'll name this as ball roll. It is going to be a floating point. It is keyable, and I'll give a minimum value of -5, maximum value of 10, and a default value of 0. I'll go ahead and say OK. So you can see that we have added a new attribute. Let's go to animate and choose set driven key. Choose the set. Now here we have to basically decide what is going to be the driver and what is going to be the driven object. So here the control curve is the driver, which is going to control the other one. So you can imagine that it's going to be the parent. So selecting the control curve, let's press load driver. And the driven objects are going to be these 3 joints. So for easy selection, I can go here and choose 1, hold shift key or control key, click 2 and 3. So I'll add the 3 controls in the driven area. So you can see that it shows up here. So I'll select this. Now the other thing that I have to find out is which axis I have to rotate. So let's say if I select this one, I can check this. Okay, this is Z axis. For the second one, again Z axis. And for the third one, again Z axis rotation. So let's go ahead and select first one and choose rotate Z, second one rotate Z, and third one rotate Z. You can see that when you go up, we choose rotate Z here, rotate Z here, rotate Z here. Okay, so first let's choose the controlling object attribute, that is controlling attribute, that is ball roll. And ball roll is going to control the rotation Z here, rotation Z here, and rotation Z here. And also select all of them together and choose rotation Z. And first things first, I have to hit key button. So now what happens is I have told Maya to register if the ball roll value is 0, make the rotation Z of all these attributes also to be 0. Let me go back to ball roll. Now I will make it as -5. So when I say -5 for ball roll, what should happen to these controls? This one is supposed to rotate back. So let's say a value of 25 or 26. Now I will hit key. What happens is Maya registers this value. When the ball roll goes -5, this joint is supposed to rotate back. Now let me adjust this ball roll value and see what happens. When I middle mouse click, you can see that from 0, when it goes to -5, it lifts up. Okay, let me move forward to 0, it comes back down. Let me move to +5. So now what should happen is this joint should move up. So at 5, I will lift this up. Let's say a value of 35. And I'll hit key once again. And when ball roll becomes, let me just push it down. Okay, there it is. Okay. Now let me go to, let's see, if I make it -5, it goes up. When I make it 0, it comes down. So next is +5. So let's go to +5, and here I want to move this joint, that is joint 3, up. So let's say something like 35. Okay, good enough. Now what I have to do is here I have to select 3 and say key. So let me check that out. If I go back, as you can see, it goes back to 0 and then -5, 0 and +5, and then finally I have to change for 10. So at 10, it's going to be controlling these 2 attributes, so 2 objects. So let me choose this one and make it 0, and let me choose this one and rotate it up. Okay, so here I'll have to set key for both of them. Let me just play that back. So if the value is 0, everything is normal. If it's 5, it goes up. If it's 10, both of them goes up. If it's -5, both of them go back. So I can also control it from here. So 0, 5, and 10, and -5. Now this setup we'll have to do just only once. So once we got it done for once, then it will remain the same throughout the scene. We don't have to create any keyframes here. All we have done is a set driven key. Okay, good enough. Let me give a value of 0. So that is basically the leg setup. So if we can move it forward, backward, we can rotate it like this, and also we can rotate it with the help of this ball roll. Now we have to do the same thing for the other leg. Now we can make duplicate from the existing setup for few things, but for the IK handler it is always recommended to create them by yourself. The control curve we can duplicate, and the joint chain we can duplicate. So first let me duplicate the joint chain. Let me select the reverse foot joints and choose skeleton mirror joint. So I think we have already set up the left right modifications and everything else is done. Let's hit mirror. So it basically makes the duplicate, and it also renames from left to right. And you will notice that it is still a part of the same control curve, which is wrong. So I'll go ahead and push this out of this hierarchy, keep it separate. I can also push it down here. Okay, just let it be there, no problem. Okay. Okay, and I just want to get rid of these IK handles because I will create them myself. And now next thing is we also have to get this control curve. As you can see, the control curve is already controlling all these other things. We can make a duplicate, and then we can delete whatever is not needed. So what we can do is we'll just select again, make a duplicate. Okay, let's go inside and delete all these other things. Let's give a name to this. We'll rename this as, instead of left leg, we'll rename this as right leg. Okay, and one last thing, that is, we'll have to get this attribute back. Let's go to edit and choose channel control, and here you should be able to find scale X, Y, and Z. Okay, let's add this to our existing attribute list. Let's move it. It's locked still. What we have to do is go here, unlock it. Okay, so only in x-axis let's give a value of -1 so that it becomes opposite. Okay, so let's select that, and now we have to snap it to this control. So all we have to do is, let's go ahead and press V, or we can also press point snap, and there you go. Now if it is not fitting properly, if you're confusing, you can also turn off the geometry. So now it should be perfect. Good enough. Now before connecting it to the joints, as you can see, there are some transforms. Let's go ahead and choose modify, freeze transformation, and you can also delete the history, delete by type history, and make sure that the naming is correct. And finally we can just make this to be the child of the control curve. Okay, so make sure that there's no unwanted transforms that are created, and that's good. Now we just have to create the 3 different IK handles. Let's go to skeleton IK handle tool, go to options, make it RP solver, so the first IK handle. Okay, and then after that we'll make it SC solver for the second one. Now when you select this, make sure that you're not accidentally selecting the reverse foot control. So that is why we made the size to be bigger for the reverse foot control. So the small one here and the small one here. Good. Let's go to outliner. Okay, so let's give the names, same names as there. I can even copy them. Instead of left, I will have right. So call this right, IK, right leg, and instead of 0, 1, I will have to replace here as 0, 2, and here 0, 3. Okay, now the same way as we did before, this IK handle will become the child of this P, this IK handle will become the child of this P, this IK handle will become the child of this P. So I can move it like together. Okay, and I can rotate them individually. Okay, like so, and like so, and like so. Good. And one last step before we finish, that is the set driven key. So let's go ahead and choose window, sorry, animate set driven key set. So this is going to be the driver, load driver. As you can see, we already have this control. I can again lock and hide this. So we've got ball roll. I'll select it from here, and here we have to select the three joins. So first one, second one, and third one. I'll load that as driven objects. Let's check once again. The axis of rotation is going to be Z. Axis of rotation is Z. Axis of rotation is Z. Good. So I'll select all of them and choose Z axis. So let's begin with the first one. Okay, so let's select this. When ball roll is going to be 0, nothing is changing, so let's hit key for all the three. Okay, and now I will go ahead and change the ball roll to be -5. So when it is -5, this is going to rotate back something like, let's say, 35, and hit key. Okay, and now let's go ahead and change the ball roll value to be 0. It comes back to 0. Let's make it +5, so only this third joint will rotate forward. Okay, so let's give a value of 30 and set key, and also set key on all the other three. And then when it goes to value of 10, now this goes back to 0, and the next one I can also press up arrow, goes up. So let's say a value of 40, and set key, set key, set key, and that's it. So we'll basically have these two controls working like so. I can even select both of them because it's the same name of the attribute. I can also control them together. Now if you can give the same exact value, it will be better, but I think I might have given a little different value, but it's okay, it's almost okay. Now once we finish the legs controls, we can also handle or move the hip control down so that you can see that the leg basically stays put in the same place. Okay, you can make him sit, you can make him move forward, or you can make him jump crazy, or you can make him rotate. Okay, move him sidewise and do whatever you want.